Hey guys, I'm Stacy,
And I'm Leslie.
and we are back with another Rescue Ranch virtual classroom episode. And today is all about snakes. So here in my hands, I have Pepper, who is a Kenyan sand boa. Pepper here is just about 4 years old.
And then I have Hanger. He is one of our ball pythons, and we actually don't know how old he is.
Yeah, so Hanger has a really cool story as to how we got him.
Yeah, so Hanger was actually found right here in Statesville. Now, ball pythons are not a snake that you should typically find around our backyards.
Yeah.
They're a snake that's native to Africa. So he was actually found in someone's apartment. A lady moved in and went to put some clothes away in her closet, and she had a roommate. So Hanger was found in her closet, just hanging around. So animal control was called, and when they found out that it was not a native wild snake to North Carolina, they did try to find his previous owners, but no one claimed him. So that's how he came to live with us here at Rescue Ranch.
Yeah, and then Pepper was here, it was just an owner surrender. So somebody that had gotten him as a pet, not realizing what kind of responsibility they are, and just decided not to continue on. So he's been living with us here for just over 3 years now. And so there's a bunch of really cool things about snakes. Obviously they have no arms, no legs, but they get around really, really well. Some snakes are ground snakes like this one, where he's really gonna wanna go underground, he's gonna go under the sand. Where other snakes you have are more like tree snakes. They're gonna climb, they're gonna go spiral ways up around the tree to be able to get where they wanna go. And snakes have some cool things when it comes to eating. So here at the ranch, we don't feed them anything live. We also don't feed them in their enclosures. So when it's time for them to eat, we're gonna take them out of their enclosure and we're gonna put them in a separate bucket. And that's where they're gonna eat. And that's gonna do a couple things. That's gonna protect us, it's gonna protect them. Can you tell a little bit how they see?
Sure. So these guys actually don't see like you and I do. They can't see the color shirt that we're wearing or the color of the carpet in our house. They actually see in temperature. So if they're out in the wild and they're hunting for their prey, they're gonna look for something that's actually glowing like a red and orangey color to let them know that it's something that's warm-blooded. If we were cold-blooded, like an ice bucket, what color do you think would be, Stacey?
Maybe blue?
Maybe blue, maybe purple. So they just see a little bit differently than us. They can't see our full outline. We're kind of a colorful blur to them.
And because of that, obviously we have lots of different animals around the ranch. And so I don't want to have just been handling a rabbit and not got all the sense off of me and then go to handle one of these guys, because they could easily mistake us for something else. And that's why we don't feed them in their enclosures, because at least that way they never see food coming in there. So we don't have to worry them trying to bite or anything like that when they're pets. We have had people that had snakes like this as pets, and they did feed them live and did feed them in their enclosure, and they started having issues with them biting. So things just to protect us as well as our guests that come here as well. And then, do snakes have bones?
They do.
What?
They have a full body full of bones. So their skeleton is actually really, really neat looking. So their entire body looks like one big spine and almost like a bunch of ribs that go to the side of them. They have about 500 bones in their body.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're small enough that they can easily bend and move and get where they need to go. And then when it does come to eating, snakes can eat food up to 3 times the size of their head. Now, I don't know about you, but if I try to eat a burger as big as my head, it doesn't work very well. But these guys, they can eat things that are much larger. They're essentially able to open their mouth really wide. It's not attached at the back, so they're able to get it really wide. And then their jaw isn't attached at the front, so they're gonna use their parts of their jaw to be able to help bring their food in. They don't really have the best manners. They're not gonna chew up their food as they're eating. It just kind of digests as it goes down. Now with our snakes, how often do we feed them?
So with our bigger snakes, they actually get fed every other week. Being fed too often could actually lead to obesity, so we really want to watch that. For our smaller snakes, especially our ones that are still growing, they're fed once a week. But we do monitor their weight. They get weighed once a week. So if we do see a steady increase in their weight, we can cut back on their food a bit.
Yeah. So other cool things, as they're getting bigger, their skin's not gonna grow with them like our skin would. Their skin is actually gonna shed. So with a younger snake, they're gonna shed every 2-3 months. With older snakes, they're gonna shed about once a season. So about 3 to 4 times in a year. And it's really neat when it's about time for them to shed. They're gonna get a much lighter color as their skin's starting to come loose. They get a fluid in between their skin and their body to make it really easy for them to be able to get out of their skin. But with that, they don't have eyelids like we do they?
Nope. They don't.
So they've got this clear scale over top of their eyes, and when it gets filled with fluid, it's almost like if you were to open your eyes underwater. Things are kind of fuzzy and hard to see. Same thing goes with these guys. So when our snakes are in shed, we put a little note that says privacy please, and we don't handle them while they're shedding, just to give them their time to do that. It usually takes upwards of about a week by the time we start to notice that their color has changed before they're actually going to shed. And they're going to shed in one big piece. So they're going to get up against a rock and they're just going to wiggle out. They're always going to shed head first to be able to get that extra skin off. And once they do, their skin is super silky smooth when it first comes off.
Yeah, and one thing that we make sure that we do, especially when we notice that our snakes are in shed, is that we keep their humidity levels higher in their enclosure, because that extra heat and moisture is really going to help them shed properly. Without that humidity, you might end up with little pieces coming off here and there, and a lot of stuck-on eye caps, which can really affect their vision. So that's definitely something that we have to make sure we're doing to help that process along.
Yeah, and so we'll spray their enclosure down. We've got some spray bottles that help to be able to make sure there's that extra moisture in there for them. And then the whole time we've been talking, these guys keep sticking their tongues out. Like, they don't have very good manners. Why are they sticking their tongues out?
Well, these guys actually smell with their tongue. And they do have a forked tongue. I'm not sure if y'all can see that on the camera or not. There you go. So there are all sorts of scent particles that float around in the air. And whenever they stick their tongue out, they're actually essentially tasting that scent. And there's an organ in their mouth called a Jacobson's organ that helps to send signals to their brain to let them know what it is that they're smelling.
Yeah.
So they're not just making silly faces at you guys.
Yeah, and so we have quite a few snakes that live here at the ranch. There's going to be a video posted below that gives you pictures and videos of all the different snakes. You're going to see a bunch of really cool enrichment things with them. Yes, we do take our snakes outside so they can get some of those extra scents and smells that are in the air out there, get those noises they would hear in the wild.
Good vitamin D.
Yeah, but then you're also going to see some kind of silly things. Like, you might see this one going through a bucket of pom-pom balls. So just fun different scents or different feelings for them to be able to go through. So it's not always the same old, same old. We want them to get that enrichment. It's really important for all of our animals. So you're going to see that in some of the videos below. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll have another one coming out later this week. And as always, make sure you're being kind and being safe.
Thanks, guys.